Hey everybody, this is Vril. Welcome back to Extended Timeline World War II. You're now up to August of 2069, so in the last episode we had Spanish West Africa gained their independence from Spain, Germany, and Italy, helped them with that. We also had Catalonia released from Spain at the end of that, and Gibraltar was given back to the British as well. So we also had Bulgaria war with Albania and Hungary, and Bulgaria won that war, taking over most of what Hungary was gaining back, except for one province here. We had the Saudi Arabians war with Iraq, gaining over all of Iraq except for one province in the north. We also had another war between Mali and Mauritania, and Mali took over a bunch of their provinces except for two here. We had a war in South Africa between Botswana and Angola, and Botswana took over a large chunk of Angola here. Back over in South America, we had another war between Brazil and Peru, and the Brazilians won that, taking over a lot more provinces on the border with Peru, so Peru's really being cut down to size. Looking at the armies we have in the world, we have China followed by the US, Soviet Union, Germany, and Japan. A lot of our nations here, maybe other than Italy, have gained back a pretty good amount of their manpower that they've been losing. We've had very low manpower in the last couple episodes. So looking at the wars we have going on, we have the Second Italian-Somalian War for Independence with the Italian Somaliland, with the British Congo and the Germans against the Italians. We have a bunch of other smaller African nations, some Middle Eastern nations. The interesting one here, though, was Poland, with it being on the border with Germany, and actually Iran might be interesting as well because of the bordering the British India. So we also have an American change of government in Mexico. Mexico allied with the Venezuelans and Argentina. And the British, before all of this, had declared war on Tibet. So we'll see how that goes. They might have some issues with that going forward. So let's go ahead and get things going. We have the Americans moving into Mexico. Once again, this is quite a few wars between the US and Mexico. The Americans had gained territory past the Rio Grande, all of this peninsula here, and looks like they're destined to take even more. We'll have the American fleets probably going down to Venezuela, as we're calling Venezuela and Colombia anymore, so that they can blockade, it looks like. Looks like the Netherlands does have a couple islands here in the Caribbean still. And they have Dutch Guyana as well. Let's go back on over to Europe. So the Germans actually do have a coalition forming against them because of their aggressive expansion. So I wouldn't be surprised if they don't actually take all that much territory in this war. Maybe they would have if they did not have all that aggressive expansion, but, take some more Poland, take some more of northern Italy, but I don't think that's going to happen. Let's quickly look at what exactly we have here. So we want to look at Italian Somaliland. So they do have the help of the Congo, the British, and the Germans. Again, the Iranians are on the side of the Italians, and they're going to be moving into British India here. So while the Germans are probably going to capture almost all of Italy here, got a pretty good battle here going on between. We've got a crossing penalty for the Italians, though, so that's not very good for them, and the Germans are reinforcing. So yeah, the Germans are definitely going to win that one. The Greeks are having some issues with Greek revolutionaries. They just don't have an army to actually defeat this. If these revolutionaries maybe go by the Bulgarian border, then maybe the Bulgarians will help them out with that, but other than that, they really cannot take on that army. If they had a 3-star general, this 34k stack might be able to do well against it, but otherwise not. So we've got... Okay, that's... I thought that was part of Zambia being occupied, but they're not at anything at the moment. That was part of the Congo being occupied. So we've got the Cameroon against the Italian Somaliland. They're allied with the Italians. So we've got like I was just saying, the Germans can go into Italy, but at the same time, the bigger issue is probably these African nations and places like Oman and maybe Iran moving into Italian Somaliland and preventing them from gaining their independence because of that. The British are even having some issues with they have their stack here. It looks like it was defeated and was doing a shattered retreat. But yeah, the British are even having issues with the Tibetans here. Just don't have much forces at this point in the Indian subcontinent. So the Americans look like they're sieging a ton of Mexico here, up to 43 war score. I think I said in previous episodes that I thought it was a good idea for the Mexicans to move into Cuba as they did, so with their Mexican Caribbean, just to keep themselves alive for the most part. I mean, if the Americans decided to take over all of Mexico, at least they would probably still hold on to Cuba. I had a feeling that the Americans probably were not going to declare war for one of those islands. They had been warring maybe for like the Bahamas, but I just don't see them doing much for actually going into Cuba. I mean, they're going to land troops here, but I don't think they're going to actually want that territory. So yeah, the Americans look like they've completely occupied all of Mexico there. Let's head back on over to Europe and India. So yeah, are there any British armies here? Not that I'm seeing. We've got some revolutionaries rising up, some noble rebels. And yeah, we've got the Mali and I think Cameroon are starting to occupy parts of Italian Somaliland. Italian Somaliland does have a decent sized army. How about what's going on in Poland? I think Poland probably pieced out. Yes, they did. So don't think the Germans actually did take anything, which is what I suspected, because the Germans have that coalition forming against them. We also have even more going on. This is kind of last episode. We had a lot of wars in Africa as well. So we have Sudanese, Cameroonian imperialist war, Sudan, British Somaliland against Cameroon, Mali, and Guinea. So the Sudan and British Somaliland try to take advantage of probably the forces that have been taken out. Cameroon's obviously in this war with the Italian Somaliland, so trying to take advantage of that war. We've got the Tibetans have sieged out all of these areas. Probably, where is this? I would say this is almost into Burma, I think. See if the Japanese or New Zealanders, possibly Portuguese, or even the Americans declare war on the Netherlands again. It's been, I don't want to say it's been quiet, but it's been a couple episodes since the last war that they had. We've got another Bulgarian conquest against Slovenia, Hungary, and Albania. And another African war. We've got a Nigerian, Portuguese, Zambian, Cameroonian conquest here. So Cameroon's going to be coming up against it looks like. A lot of different factions going on here. It's a little bit hard to follow. Let's have a look at what Bulgaria here is doing, though. They probably will be able to easily take... Yeah, they've got... Okay, did they just end that war really quick? It looked like they... Okay, they pieced out with the Hungarians and actually annexed them, so that's what they did there. Okay. Greek revolutionaries still there. So yeah, the Germans completely occupying most of Italy. We'll see a few episodes back when the Germans occupied all of Italy. We had a bunch of rebels rise up and actually ended up taking out the German army at the time. Yeah, it's not going... I mean, even though they have the help of the British, I don't think this war is actually going very well for the Italian Somaliland, because they're being occupied by... It's funny that Spanish West Africa is actually on the side of preventing Italian Somaliland from gaining their independence, so they're on the side of Italy there, because Italy did help them. Yeah, this is... A lot of occupation going on here in the British India here. Not seeing any British armies unless I'm just missing it completely. Got a British fleet there, but I'm not seeing a British army. So yeah, Cameroon is occupying parts of Sudan. Okay, Sudan. I was looking for Sudan's army. I thought maybe they were in Cameroon, but they were right here. So that is a equal-sized army. The Saudis joined this war as well. It looks like they have. Let's quickly look at the Americas and see. Okay, so the Americans didn't take as much as I thought they would. They only took a couple provinces on the border here with Mexico. I thought they would have taken a whole lot more than they did. It's a little unfortunate. Okay, well, back over to... Looks like, yeah, I mean, the Germans have occupied almost all of Italy except for Sicily, and they probably will be taking that shortly. Italian Somaliland does have pretty good army size still, though. I think that the Cameroon, Sudan, and all these wars that are going on otherwise in Africa is probably going to help the Italian Somaliland from gaining, getting more of their territory occupied. This is just chaos, though. I don't really know what all the factions are. We can look at this, but it's pretty chaotic. Nigeria, Portugal, Zambia, Cameroon. Yeah, so... Zambia's a decent battle going on here between the two. Looks like it was won by the Guinea there. British Somaliland, in case you haven't been following the series, is an independent nation, even though they're called British Somaliland, similar to Spanish West Africa's. Don't have a new name or anything once they gain their independence. But yeah, the Iranians are really helping out here. And the Saudis. Just because the British cannot move their army into India to siege all of this back, so... With that said, I mean, their war score should be better than it is considering... What do we have? Okay, we have a Polish-Slovakian war. We have Poland and Bulgaria against Slovakia and Croatia. So actually, let's quickly check. Bulgaria did take over Slovenia here. And it looks like Croatia and Slovakia probably going to be annexed shortly. I think the Bulgarians have a pretty strong army, plus the Polish. Croatians have a good sized army, but they needed, if Slovakia was more than a one province minor, they probably would have had a chance, but I don't think they have a chance otherwise. Okay, we've got the Italians occupying all the way into basically Malaysia. Just looking at what else is going on. Quickly look over here in Poland, Bulgaria. That's a little bit more interesting to me than what's the chaos that's going on in Africa there. Is a little bit hard to follow, but it's pretty clear when we have Poland and Bulgaria invading Croatia and Slovakia what's going to happen here. Bulgaria is really becoming the force to be reckoned with here in the Balkan regions. We'll see if maybe the Turks try to face off with them, because the Turks are allied with the Germans. And actually the Bulgarians are allied with the Soviets at this point. So they're allied with the Soviets. Actually, they're allied with Croatia as well, so... Quickly trying to look at this. Yeah, so they're not... Obviously, they didn't join that war, so they didn't care that much. What the Soviets are up to. The Chinese have been pretty quiet here recently. Had a lot of wars with Japan for the longest time. Nothing going on. Looks like our... Okay, no, I thought maybe that Zambian war had ended. We had... Looks like Sudan has lost some territory to Cameroon here. I think that they were allied with British Somaliland as well. I don't think Somaliland lost anything, but it does look like Sudan lost some territory to Cameroon. Actually, did the... I was thinking that the Italian Somaliland gained some territory there, but it doesn't look like it. Maybe they did earlier. I don't know. I just don't remember it going this direction that far. I know that they were split up a little bit, though. So yeah, the Germans completely occupying all of Italy, and Bulgaria has annexed most of Croatia here, and the Polish annexed Slovakia. Okay. We'll see if the Germans, what the Germans think about that. Looks like the Turks are thinking to build an army here as well. British India is a complete mess. How's this war going for the British? It is a -6 war score. And now we have a Ghana versus Mali, Liberia, and Spanish West Africa, with Ghana on as the aggressor here. So they must be seeing they have a decent sized army, but seems some sort of advantage here to doing this. We've got 20k stack up here. Liberia's not going to be much to worry about. I think Mali just peaced out, or did they have another war? Okay, they're not... I think they were involved in this Italian Somaliland war at one point in time, but I think they peaced out of this one. Yeah, we've definitely had some people drop out of this war. Iran, Saudi Arabia is pretty strong, though. Yeah, we definitely had quite a few drop out. Important players in Africa drop out of that war. Okay, yeah, here we've got it exactly as I called it. The Italian particularists have risen up in Italy. Just out of curiosity, what? They are an empire. Just be curious, their leader's not very good at all. Let's quickly look around here, what our leaders are. British have a decent leader. So do the Soviets, still socialist state. So okay leader in China, pretty good leader in Japan. Just an okay leader for the Americans. So anything else? We've got Spain, Regency Council going on there. Okay. Canada, pretty good leader in Canada with a 5. What about Brazil? Decent all-around leader there. Okay. Well, you guys can have a look at the government types there too, as I was going through that also, but I don't think there was anything that changed there from what I was just glancing at with they were all socialist states or republics like they've been for the last 100 years. It would be a little bit more interesting in this mod if there were actual... We had an uprising, like communist uprising in Germany at one point in time recently, but that was quickly overthrown, pushed back. Communists were put down, but it'd be nice if they had more like, fascist or communist uprising to change governments from republics and things like that, just to make it a little bit more interesting in this mod, but obviously that is easier said than done. EU4 is a game that's not supposed to be simulating this time of the world, and this is as good of a job as it's going to do. So yeah, the Italian Somaliland, that war has ended, and the Italian Somaliland is still a colony of the Italians there, so okay. We also, and I noticed, as I mentioned right before, we have an Icelandic, Cameroonian, punitive war. Okay, Denmark, Croatia. This is actually the second time I think we've had this. And we have another Japanese-Dutch war. Japan is now allied with the British, Congo, New Zealand against the Netherlands once again. Okay. Alright, it does look like we're out of time for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and please consider hitting the like button if you did, as it really helps out the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.